What is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight, the Monday Night Raw go-home show for the 2020 edition of the Royal Rumble showed some potential. And I actually thought at points that Monday Night Raw might turn out to be a good show, but every time they took a step or two in the right direction, the end result would more often than not be disastrous, with one very glaring exception which ends up pissing me off even more than anything else, because something that is so good on the show shows that they actually know how to do this, which is what makes some of the other decisions that they made on this night completely just ass backwards. Like Samoa Joe said, just a bunch of asshats running this company, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw Royal Rumble Go Home Show review and reaction show. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
January 20th, 2020, Monday Night Raw was once again a big letdown by the time it was all said and done. It's Martin Luther King Day. Happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody. You know, a little off topic here, but it's scary to me to think that Dr. King's dream is still not fully realized. You know, if we all just treated each other the way we all wanted to be treated as a person, with respect, then the whole entire world would be a better place. So let's all take steps in working towards making that a reality as best that we can. Also, Raw would be a better place if the creative would take their ass hats off. They have to get their heads completely out of their asses. That's where they have to have their brains. That's where all their power comes from. Because that's how we end up with shit like Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy becoming the World Tag Team Champions 6 days before a Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And it begs the question, if Seth Rollins has the Authors of Pain, the biggest, baddest tag team in the land, these guys that were talking about how they were going to destroy the tag team division and do all this kind of damage and whatnot before they joined up with the Messiah, why would he take this opportunity for himself and Buddy Murphy? Why wouldn't he take the opportunity and give it to his team? Buddy Murphy, a loser on Monday Night Raw. He's been putting on great matches, but he hasn't won a goddamn thing. And what do you get in the WWE when you're a loser? You get rewarded with championship gold. Seth Rollins needs to be the tag team champion. Why? Because you can't give him the WWE championship because it's on Brock Lesnar? Because you can't give him the United States Championship because he's above that and you have other plans for it with Rey and Andrade? How do you come up with this shit? How do you think the Authors of Pain feel? Only the WWE can simultaneously push and shit on a talent at the same time. How is it possible? They take the Authors of Pain, they put them in a main event storyline with the biggest name on the brand, Seth Rollins. Premium exposure and all this shit. They give them Buddy Murphy, and then 1 week later, they give Buddy Murphy the tag team championships with the team captain. How does that make sense? They are the asshats of Pain. Why? Why would you do something as asinine as that? It's ridiculous. Why would you give us that mixed tag team retardedness as the main event on this evening? If you were going to plan on a title change for the tag team division, don't you think that should have been the way Raw went off the air? At the very least, you could have went off the air with the United States Championship as the main event in a ladder match. How often do we see a ladder match for a championship on a Monday Night Raw? Definitely should have taken priority over half of the other stuff we've seen this evening. But in hindsight, when you think about the stupid post-match segment that happened, that was nothing but a letdown to me and probably all of you watching along at home. Humberto Carrillo comes out to save Rey Mysterio, and I'm supposed to be like, woo! Who cares? We didn't care about Carrillo when he got his head smashed into the concrete. We didn't care about him in the weeks you were trying to push him down our throats, and nobody cares about it now. You know what you were supposed to do? You know what you should have done? Since Zelina Vega played such a huge part in this rivalry and continue to do so in tonight's United States Championship ladder match, if not for Zelina Vega, it is quite possible Rey Mysterio would have won that matchup. But that is not what happened. Zelina stopped Rey Mysterio from getting to the top of the ladder in tonight's opening contest, and then Andrade would end up giving Rey Mysterio the hammerlock DDT off of the ladder through another ladder that was set up perpendicular into the corner, and would end up winning this matchup. Thanks, mostly in part, to his manager. So what do? You have this guy jump over the barricade wearing a Rey Mysterio mask in order to save Rey Mysterio from getting his head smashed into the concrete following the matchup. And it should have been Dominic. It should have been the giant baby son. Why was it not down? Why Humberto Carrillo? Do you think the fans really care? There's a much better story to be told by bringing Dominic back into the fold. He doesn't have to be ready to be in ring. He could just play the foil to Zelina Vega as we move forward, leading Andrade and Rey Mysterio to a big-time WrestleMania matchup. You could do mask versus hair, mask versus manager, mask versus career, whatever you want to do. And then you have Dominic turn on Rey Mysterio in that matchup, siding with Andrade and Zelina Vega, giving this kid a push now that he's ready to go, or whatever. Be creative. Have fun with it. That's why the job is called creative. It's not called be an asshat. It's not called recycle garbage. It's not called, hey, let's push this guy that nobody cares about, that looks like a reject from 70s disco band Menudo. Thanks to Demon Diva for that one. She put me onto that on Twitter. I was cracking up when I seen it. It's absolutely accurate. You older guys will know what I'm talking about. And you're probably laughing your ass off because it's true. It's damn true. And makes it even worse to be seeing Dr. Dimples now. I don't care. I don't care at all. We're supposed to be invested now because he tried to save Rey Mysterio tonight, getting his vengeance on Andrade. They're trying to tell a story, but it's definitely not a story that I'm interested in hearing. Nor was I interested in hearing Seth Rollins just go on and say pretty much nothing. Welcome Buddy Murphy back into the fold. Tell the world that they're this unit. And then they get confronted by Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. This was a great part of the show. Owens and Joe on the microphone are gold. Samoa Joe, thanks for the ass hat line this evening. He called everybody in the ring, all of Rollins and his clowns in there. He called them a bunch of ass hats because they make stupid decisions and they don't know what they're talking about. And I couldn't agree with the man more. And they wanted to fight. So Seth Rollins accepts the fight because clearly he has the numbers to his advantage. But then Joe reveals, we said we were going to fight, but we weren't coming alone. Enter the Viking Raider Warrior Raiders. And I really enjoyed this initial moment. The tag team champions came out just dressed up pretty normal. They had their t-shirts on. They didn't have their stupid headgears. And they came out and they looked like they were ready to fight. And standing next to Owens and Joe, I was like, you know what? I can do this. This is great. I like where this is going. But I would not like where this ended up before the night is over. This was a premature title change that would end up happening. They make this matchup Rollins and Murphy versus the champions. And they give them the titles, and I just don't understand why. It doesn't make sense. It's premature. It's way premature. There's no reason for this to be happening. At first, when they booked the matchup, I automatically assumed the Viking Raiders were going to win somehow, probably because of Owens and Joe and everybody getting involved, and I thought the match was going to end up getting called off. So the Raiders would end up remaining our champions, setting up a bigger main event, or maybe a match with the Asshats of Pain at the Royal Rumble or on a Monday Night Raw following, leading us to the next pay-per-view even. I thought it was just a setup to do the right thing and give the championships to the Authors of Pain. But that's not what they did. That's not at all what they did. They did the complete opposite. And they gave the tag team championships to two singles wrestlers when they have a tag team in the stable. And I'm not supposed to dwell on that. I'm not supposed to be thinking about that. I'm not supposed to care about that. I'm not supposed to feel bad for Akam and Razor. Because you should. I would love to be a fly on the wall that understood their native tongue in their room tonight, as they probably burned Seth Rollins and company to the ground. This company has no respect for tag team wrestling or its divisions. It's disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. Let's try to get back on track and go in order here. We talked about the opening matchup. The ladder match was very good. It was a little bit lazy. I don't want to say lazy, but there were just clearly some very obviously missed spots. And they were some of the bigger spots of the match, so it was hard to ignore. And we talked about once before on the show, as a professional wrestler, I believe that if you're going through a sequence and a wrestler misses that spot, I think we talked about this on an AEW review, don't sell the spot. For example, in this ladder matchup, there was one spot where Rey Mysterio went to do a flipping DDT or a flipping power bomb off the top of the ladder to Andrade. When he jumped over the top of the ladder, he failed to grab Andrade's legs. He missed the spot completely and just went crashing down onto the ladder. And Andrade just jumped off, as if a ghost at the top of the ladder kicked him right in the face. I don't like that. I feel like that's when you gotta call an audible. You see Rey Mysterio laying there, you're not supposed to go up and get the belt, be pissed off that he just tried to do that to you, turn around and drop a leg on him or something. Call an audible. Call it in the ring. If he don't hit you, he don't hit you. It lends to the reality of the experience. Don't make it look as choreographed and planned as the world knows it already is. You're not doing the sport any favors. I don't care who you are, I'm going to call you out on it. And it happened a couple of times throughout this matchup. There was some really nasty looking spots. Andrade fell on his neck at one point. I thought it was completely broken. Rey Mysterio took a tumble from the top of he was holding the belt, and Andrade had his hands and then on Rey's feet, and he pulled him down from the top, and it was a vicious fall. Rey really fell flat on his back as well. There was some real damage done, and I don't want to take anything away from the effort these guys put forth. This was a great match. There were some iffy spots, but the match in itself was a tremendous matchup. The finish was just fine. I thought it was fine. The post-match angle was garbage. The reveal of the masked hero to be Humberto, Dr. Dimples, I didn't care for any of that. Definitely should have been Dominic. And it should have went down that path. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Alistair Black shows up for less than a minute. It took him more time to raise up from his little coffin thing. I'm pretty sure that whole thing, before he even got up perpendicular to the top and took his first step from the bottom to the top to the bottom. It took him more time to do that than it took him to kicked this kid in the face, whoever he was, this nameless, faceless moron, standing in the middle of the ring. He beat him in 8 seconds with one black mass kick. I guess they felt the need to really reestablish the power of the black mass since they screwed it up in that last match with Buddy Murphy. But this was unnecessary. You might as well have had him sitting in his little dark black room talking about how he's going to win the Royal Rumble. This was just... Well, I would prefer this to Alistair Black, I guess, losing to people. I mean, we just seen him beat Buddy Murphy 3 matches in a row, and he's following it up with this jerk. And I'm supposed to be impressed? It was like some guy from the crowd to me. You know, it's like he just beat up a fan. 8 seconds this match took. 10 seconds tops. That's what I'm saying. It took him more time to raise up. Bam, 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 bam. What a waste of time. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman show up. Paul Heyman, the advocate for Brock Lesnar, came to Monday Night Raw tonight to tell us the rules of the Royal Rumble, as if we don't already know. And don't tell me, oh, well, there's new fans, Mr. Nightmare. Yeah, well, you know what? Those new fans are probably little kids. And those little kids are probably watching wrestling because their older brother, or their father, or their mother, or their cousin, or their grandpa, somebody watches wrestling. And the Royal Rumble has been around for over 30 years. So everybody knows the rules of a Royal Rumble. In most case scenarios, these kids that are also watching are also playing the garbage WWE 2K19 video game, in which case they are struggling to, but they are learning how to and are actively trying to play in Royal Rumbles. Who doesn't know the rules of a Royal Rumble? I certainly do. I don't need Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman to show up to tell me this. But it gets infinitely worse. Because aside from the fact that Paul Heyman just carried on and on about how Brock makes history because he says he's going to make history and blah, 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 he gets confronted by the least likely suspect. Ricochet comes out to stand up for the roster. He wants to tell the world he's going to be the one to win the Royal Rumble, and he's going to stand up to Brock Lesnar here. And this was the funniest moment of the night. This was way funnier than that ridiculously corny and cheesy, cringeworthy SNL segment they wrote for later on in the evening. This was hysterical. Ricochet just walking out there and trying to talk shit to Brock Lesnar is probably one of the funniest things we're going to see all year. It's just ridiculousness coming out of his mouth. There is not one thing that he says that makes me believe for 1 minute that he has a chance against the guy that beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, a guy that ate Bill Goldberg for breakfast, a guy that suplexed John Cena nearly out of the WWE for good. I don't need to try to believe this shit. It's just ridiculous. And they scripted him as good as he could be, but then he wanted to try to be intimidating, and he wanted to tell Brock Lesnar he's going to face up to Brock Lesnar, and he asked Brock Lesnar if he's scared. Little tiny Ricochet standing up to the Beast going, "Hey Beast, I'm going to beat you up. Are you scared?" To which Brock Lesnar kicked him in the nuts and told him, "No, I'm not scared," and then walked the hell out. This made Ricochet look like an idiot. He did not look good here at all. I don't understand the purpose of it. Does somebody really not like Ricochet backstage that it's writing this show? I don't understand. Was that supposed to make us believe in Ricochet? Are we supposed to feel bad for Ricochet? Is this going to lead to Ricochet somehow being the one to mysteriously eliminate Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble since he feasibly cannot end up being the winner? I don't know. You tell me, because I don't get it. This didn't do anybody any good. Didn't make Brock Lesnar look intimidating, beating up a guy half his size. Oh my God. It could have literally been anybody else. Anybody else at least about 50 pounds heavier. I would have rather seen Matt Hardy in this scenario than the scenario he would get forced into tonight on Monday Night Raw. Talk about disrespectful, but we'll get to that. So after the interruption and Brock Lesnar kicks him in the nuts, Brock Lesnar and company, Paul Heyman, walks out. And that's the end. Ricochet just laying there holding his nads. I guess dreaming of Casey Catanzaro. I don't know. Charlie Caruso interviewed Randy Orton about Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton says Drew McIntyre is a hell of a guy. Drew McIntyre is a hell of a talent. And he's right, because they had a hell of a matchup tonight. This matchup between these two guys was fantastic. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Randy and Drew. I really thought this was a fun match while I was watching it. My only thing while watching it that I was a little bit concerned about was I don't understand why you would give away a match like this. This is a very big main event type matchup. This match could very easily headline any pay-per-view, WrestleMania included, if there's a championship involved. So why give away a Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton match? But then, in a stroke of genius, and I actually thought I was having a stroke, because all of a sudden I'm watching something that makes sense. The OC comes out, interrupts the matchup. The referee doesn't make any decision. The segment just kind of goes off the air without the bell ringing, but AJ Styles and company stops the matchup. Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre end up fending them off, and the OC retreats. Randy Orton would then give Drew McIntyre an RKO for his troubles. Drew McIntyre then cuts a promo on Randy Orton, pretty much telling him, see you in the Royal Rumble, and after I Claymore kick your face out of the Royal Rumble, I'm going to end up WrestleMania bound, being in the main event like I was destined to be. And Randy Orton just stares back at him like, okay. And the whole time Randy Orton was giving him his props before he ended up dropping his ass. It was just very well done. It was very well written. Nobody won. Nobody lost. Everything makes sense. The OC has been a thorn in Randy Orton's side as of late. Drew McIntyre has been involved with them as of late. Everything kind of makes sense. They have stuff to do on the road to WrestleMania. They have business to take care of with the OC before they end up on a collision course against each other. The next time we will see them will be in this Sunday's Royal Rumble, and you could almost guarantee they are going to get involved. And it's going to lead them towards a WrestleMania match, I'm hoping. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania is a very good second match for Drew McIntyre to have if he is indeed not going to win the Royal Rumble and head to WrestleMania himself, which would be great to see. And just feeling the tempo of the arena and hearing the fans tonight and just how I feel about it personally, I am definitely ready to see Drew McIntyre take the beast down at WrestleMania. I would rather see that than anybody from NXT or anybody else you could possibly imagine. Drew McIntyre just seems like maybe now is the time. You know, when we get around WrestleMania, there always feels like there's that guy, and the fans start to get behind him. It's been happening since Daniel Bryan. It happened with Becky Lynch. It happened with Kofi Kingston. Maybe it's going to happen for Drew McIntyre. So let's continue the support. I'm loving it. It was the best moment of Monday Night Raw, but it pissed me off to no end. Because when you finish watching the show and you think back to that one segment, it's like, how could they get something so right? How can they do something that's just pure wrestling 101? They have the capability to do this. So how is it possible that the rest of the show was just ridiculousness? How do we keep week after week getting garbage shows, after trash heap shows, after dumpster fire shows, when you can clearly do what the fans expect of you? I don't get it. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, battle to a no contest. This match went a little bit over 10 minutes, and it was great. It was really great. You know what wasn't great? The obligatory Charlotte Flair segment. Even when this woman has nothing to do, they have to give her something to do. Charlotte Flair came out tonight and had an interview in the back with Charlie Caruso, and she literally said nothing. She said words, but all of those words had no meaning. All of the sentences she has said, we have heard said before. Oh, Charlotte Flair was the first person to declare for entrance in this year's Royal Rumble. Like, that matters. Is that on, like, a sash that she has? Is she going to have that stitched into her next robe? Like, that's not an achievement. That's not an accomplishment. So stop hanging your hat on that for everybody. Oh, Roman Reigns was the first to declare. Oh, Charlotte was Who cares? Who gives a shit what number you declared? The only number that matters is what number you are in the Royal Rumble. So stop with that shit. Charlotte Flair had the most eliminations last year despite losing, and she was thrown out by Becky Lynch, who wasn't even part of the matchup to begin with. And then Becky Lynch just kind of popped in out of nowhere, which was my favorite part of the whole thing. But also, it's like they have to just keep them attached at the hip. You can't have Becky without Charlotte, just like we can't have Sasha without Bayley. God forbid we go on separate ways. Anyway. Charlotte then said she was eliminated but wasn't supposed to be. But this year she's prepared for the 29 other women. Are the 29 other women prepared for the Queen? I'm sure they are. And I don't really care. And if Charlotte Flair wins this Royal Rumble this year, I will have zero interest in her direction going forward to WrestleMania. I don't care. I don't need to see another Charlotte Flair WrestleMania main event. I don't need to see Charlotte Flair even wrestle at this year's WrestleMania. Does she really deserve it? What has she really done that's been important? She's just the WWE's poster girl. Vince's favorite puppet right now. And I don't really care. Yeah, I'm bored with it. I'm done. Until something happens or something changes, she's in this weird, like, tweener mode, and it's just, every time she speaks is cringeworthy TV, and her wrestling matchups are, at best so far. And now, honestly, when I look at Charlotte Flair, all I can think of is, bam, bam, I have a twin now, she's on the SmackDown, bam, bam, bam. Snuck that one in there for you guys. You didn't expect that. I know you didn't. Okay, so Becky Lynch comes out. She's going to have this match with Kairi Sane. Before the matchup, she does another promo, which was actually very good. She's saying that while she was being the big winner at WrestleMania, Asuka went on to make soup on YouTube, which I thought was a pretty good line. She delivered it very well, much better than I just did. And she's going to teach Asuka a lesson because now she knows what she should have known before, which is that she can't beat her anymore. Asuka can't beat Becky Lynch anymore. Becky Lynch then goes on to have a blah of a match with Kairi Sane. I actually sat down to this one thinking this is going to be a match. This is going to be a match. If they give these girls time, this is going to be great. Becky Lynch is pretty solid in the ring. She's been the champ for a while. It's great to see her actually wrestling instead of Charlotte Flair. And Kairi Sane is amazing. But that didn't prove to be the case. I don't know if Kairi's still feeling the effects of the concussion that Charlotte Flair gave her back at TLC. Or if maybe she wasn't feeling well tonight. There was just something kind of off with their chemistry here. And I just felt like there was like no energy in this match from either of them. It was just like they were trying to go through the motions and get through their spots, call this match up as they felt fit, and then it was just kind of over. Also, at times, when we weren't going to commercial break, we were seeing Asuka more than anything else. They kept cutting to Asuka, who was sitting on the top turnbuckle while she was watching this match the whole time, which shouldn't have been allowed. Right? Shouldn't the ref have been, like, counting her down to get off of the ring post? If we're going by wrestling rules, you shouldn't be up on the ring in that manner. Asuka can pounce and strike at any moment from that position. He should have legitimately told her to get down. He didn't, of course, because they suck at their jobs, and Asuka watched this match from the top rope, And it was just a very uneventful matchup. Nothing very special happened here. Becky Lynch gets the win with the disarmer. Immediately after the tap out by Kairi Sane, Asuka locked in on Becky Lynch, hit her with a Shining Wizard, and that would be it. Next thing you know, they started beating her up. The crowd was all pissed off about it. They then cut a promo in the back. They spoke majority in Japanese, which I still will never understand. Like, if she has the line and she knows the line in English, just say that English line. And then as you walk off, you can scream anything you want in Japanese. But when you got the mic in your face, speak to the crowd. Speak to the girl. Don't just yell gibberish in your own language, because nobody outside of Japan or people that don't speak Japanese know what she's saying. And that agitates me. And Kairi Sane had to put her 2 cents in. We have no idea what Kairi Sane had to say. But then Asuka wraps it up in English. Becky Lynch is not ready for Asuka. And then she walks away laughing very awkwardly, which made me giggle. Her laugh kind of made me pop. It was unexpected and weird. But aside from that, I need them to get interpreters or translators or managers that can cut these promos that will make things feel better and more natural and more organic. Because what reason do I have to care if I don't understand where Asuka's coming from? Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy defeated the Viking Raider Warrior Raiders to win the Raw Tag Team Championships. We already talked about it. Honestly, if we're going to look at the match, it wasn't that great. I actually expected it to be better. It felt kind of rushed at times. I just felt like there was so much more that was going to come from this match. I actually had forgotten about the stupid mixed tag team match, and when this match went on, which was at about the 10:30 mark, I'm like, wow, we're going to get a decent 20-minute long main event title match here. Much to my surprise, this thing went about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more. But it was underwhelming as well. You know, the team of Rollins and Buddy Murphy came out with the ass hats of pain, and the champs came out with Owens and Joe. But before you know it, they would get into it on the outside and leave, which left the tag team match to go on undisturbed, which at this point definitely had me believing the Viking Raiders were going to end up winning this matchup. Boy, would I be wrong. And out of nowhere, Murphy and Rollins found the advantage. They chucked, I forgot which one it was, Ivar, Erick, I don't know which one's using which name anymore. The guy with the beard, the big long beard and the hair, was on the top rope, and he got pushed off and landed kind of on the ring apron. And then the other one would end up getting curb stomped head first into the ring apron, which led to the 3 count and the crowning of new champions. And I'm just sitting on my couch shaking my head like, why? Why would you do that when you have the authors of... I don't want to say it again. I've probably said it way too much as it is. It's so clearly obvious. So clearly obvious. Why do they... Let's move on. I don't want to flip out on this again. The matchup was underwhelming. It could have been better. It ended the wrong way with the wrong winners. They could have set up so much going forward from this one matchup. But they decided to take the easy way out and give whiny little baby Rollins some championships before he gets upset. God forbid he don't have a title on his way. He was doing just fine without a championship. His mission is to save Raw, not to be the tag team champion. Then they did the SNL Weekend Update spoof with the Street Profits, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Like, I literally feel my blood boiling and my skin crawling as they're trying to land all these really lame-ass jokes, and then they're trying to do these little inside jokes to tell us, hey, we know that we suck at what we do. They got Dawkins talking about how he don't like reboots while at the same time showing an image of The Miz and Morrison's return on SmackDown. Like, ha ha ha. And then the guy goes on to claim that everything on Monday Night Raw is new and fresh and original. Which is a joke in and of itself. This was just awful. Then they threw it to R-Truth. R-Truth, who is supposed to be on location on the site of the Royal Rumble, but he's clearly standing in front of a green screen. This just got so nonsensical. None of it was needed, and I don't understand what the point of it is. If this is for your stupid creative writers to get their comedy jollies off because they want to feel like an SNL team, don't try to be Saturday Night Live. Try to be WWE, you jackasses. Because you're terrible at doing wrestling, so what makes you think you're going to do comedy any better? Everything you do comedy-wise is awful. This is prime example of it. Don't torture yourself by watching this if you haven't, but if you want to see how bad it is, I am not exaggerating. This is just like eye-rolling, constantly sighing to yourself type stuff. It was just ridiculous. And I don't understand it. Erick Rowan defeats Matt Hardy in 2 minutes. Matt Hardy comes out and the crowd was in such a stunned silence from that stupid SNL segment that they forgot who Matt Hardy was. Matt Hardy came out, nobody even made a fucking beat. I don't understand why he's not coming out to his cool Matt Hardy music that he had, but he comes out to the Hardy Boys music, and people still didn't give a shit. Probably because they seen the writing on the wall. Because why is Matt Hardy coming out there? He's coming out there to fight this idiot with the box. Alright? The man with the box comes out. He wrestles Matt Hardy for a bit. He gets I say a bit, well, let's say about a minute. He gets the advantage. He wants to show Matt Hardy the thing in the box. So we're going back to this. Erick Rowan opens the box, puts his hand in the box, takes his hand out of the box. He's bit again. He's bit again. His hand is bleeding. He gets mad at Matt Hardy. Gives him the face slam with the blood on his hand. Boom! And Matt Hardy was pinned. Matt Hardy, a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy that innovated TLC with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys and his brother Jeff. The guy that woke up the wrestling world with his broken gimmick in 2016 and actually single-handedly made Impact something to... Oh, right. He did that. That's why he's probably still being punished to this day. Matt Hardy, we all know, is not going to be re-signing with the WWE. We all know he's leaving in March. The WWE apparently does too, and they are going to drag a legend through the mud. That shows you how petty the WWE is, how childish they are. Oh, you're not going to play with us? We let you come back at WrestleMania. We let you do your stupid Woken thing. We let you play with Bray Wyatt, and we let your brother be this and that. And you're going to leave now? Well, we're going to make you look like you can't do it anymore. We're going to book Matt Hardy like we booked the jobber that lost to Alistair Black earlier in the evening. Matt Hardy could have very easily been that guy. What a disrespectful showing by the WWE. We cut to Owens and Joe in the back. Owens and Joe are talking about how they are also going to be in the Royal Rumble. Samoa Joe says, I too declare that I am in the Royal Rumble. And, you know, while we're fighting Seth Rollins, Mr. Owens, I got your back at all times. But if he comes face to face with him in the Royal Rumble, he will go right through him. And of course he would. Owens should expect that. This is Samoa Joe. What did he think Joe was going to say? Oh, well, you know, I'm going to be in the Rumble too, but if I see you there, I'll just throw myself over the top because I don't want to be the champion. I don't want to main event WrestleMania. Who would say that? Nobody would say that. But this was entertaining. Owens and Joe have a great chemistry, and I'm enjoying where this is going. The biggest positive that I could come out with Rollins and Murphy being the tag team champions is that possibly it will go to Owens and Joe. Maybe at the... It's not going to be at the Rumble because they have no time to book it. But they'll book shit on the fly if they want to. They're known for changing their shit, but that might be the best case scenario. Somewhere along the line, Owens and Joe will be champs. And that'll be it. And we'll go from there. Until we get there, that's just speculation. That's best case scenario. Charlie Caruso once again was in the back. She was talking to Mojo the Bozo Rawley. He was interrupted by the Singh brothers, and then he quickly disposed of them like the trash that they are. And that was it. Apparently, Mojo Rawley's going to make the 24/7, I don't give a shit, look at me, I'm a clown, avocado-colored, gold-plated championship belt try to seem like a serious thing. No. It's been too damaged at this point. If you're going to relaunch it and take it seriously, you have to change it. You have to change it from that stupid 70s disco record to a decent belt. Don't call it the 24/7 championship anymore. Do something else. Because otherwise, I really don't give a shit. Mojo Rawley could take out the entire roster from top to bottom to defend that WWE 24/7 piece of trash. And I will have zero interest in it the following day. Just because he's all intense and angry now and he's got makeup on his face and he's wearing his weird little supervillain suit, I'm supposed to care. No, he's still Mojo the Bozo Rawley right now. And he has to earn his stripes. And as long as he's got that belt around his waist, the only stripes I see are yellow stripes. Yellow stripes because yellow stripes are bad. Right? It's like watching a giant chicken walking around with an avocado draped around his waist. Nobody wants that. I want that about as much as I wanted this goddamn main event. Mixed tag team matchup, Bobby Lashley and Lana versus Rusev and Liv Morgan. And of course, instead of just letting this be a match and giving this match time to actually do some things, they have to let Lana come out and just jib-jab and say absolutely nothing. And we have to listen to the milk dud lullaby of death, which is anything that Lana says, because it instantly puts you to sleep while simultaneously wishing for death so that the end will come. Awful. Absolutely awful. And she gets so taken back by the crowd. She's definitely not a professional. She lets the crowd get to her way too easy. She plays right into the crowd's hands, and the segment drags on and on and on. By the time Rusev and Liv came out, there was like 5 minutes left in the show. There's absolutely nothing new about Liv Morgan. You know what's new about Liv Morgan? She's not wearing ponytails anymore. And her makeup is exactly the same. However, she has stopped going to the Smurf village to blow the Smurfs because her tongue is no longer blue, which is, I guess we could take as a positive. But otherwise, the Liv Morgan I seen tonight is the exact same Riot Squad Liv Morgan we have all known. She's wearing red and black, very similar type of outfit to what she used to wear. Her hair is different. Her tongue's not blue. This is the new Liv Morgan. Nothing new about it. This matchup was nothing. When Lana and Liv were in the ring, it was a disaster. When Rusev and Lashley were in the ring, I was uninterested. And at the end of the night, this whole thing was 5 minutes for Bobby Lashley to spear Rusev thanks to Lana's constant interference. What good is Liv Morgan if she can't take out Lana? Lana played so much of a part in this matchup as it pertained to the men's offense. Liv Morgan did an enziguri on Bobby Lashley. I'm supposed to be impressed. I'm not. This is the worst storyline they got going, and it's the main event of the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. That makes me mad alone. I don't have too much to look forward to at the Royal Rumble. I love the Royal Rumble match itself. When you take a look at some of the names in this Royal Rumble already, I'm afraid for the rest of it. We got about 19, 20 names announced. Some of the names including Elias and Dolph Ziggler and many other people that don't even deserve to be in the Royal Rumble this year. And I don't know what's going to happen. It used to be my favorite night of the year. I used to always love Survivor Series. I always loved the Royal Rumble. Everybody always used to love WrestleMania. But I always had a special fondness of the Royal Rumble. It was always done so well, and it was always the lead-in to WrestleMania, and all of the stories of the year are about to start now. The Survivor Series is the culmination of everything at the year. WrestleMania is the big show in the middle of the year. The Royal Rumble kicks things off. And this Sunday, we're going to kick off this year and see what road we are on, because as of right now, they don't even know what road they're on. The WrestleMania script has not been finalized. As far as we know, it hasn't even been written in pencil yet, let alone penning things in for good. And we still have the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to get to, and the supposed Saudi show that they're going to throw at us in February, right around the time of AEW Evolution, which is probably not a coincidence. But we will be here for all of that and everything, as Royal Rumble season is here. The Royal Rumble is 6 days away. We have to stop at SmackDown along the way, unfortunately. But before we can get to the Royal Rumble, there is one more stop. So make sure that you are here for us Friday night for that review. And of course, Wednesday night, AEW's review. NXT will go up Thursday or Friday, depending on how it gets done. But I will try to have it up Thursday night for you guys. Thank you all for your continued love and support. To make sure you do not miss anything, just hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. If you like today's show, hit the thumbs up. If I made you laugh, if I made you cry, if I made you understand why this piece of shit show was in fact a piece of shit that made you and me into asshats, as well as everybody in attendance in Wichita, Kansas tonight, hit that thumbs up right now. Share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world so that they too can become fellow asshats along here with us in the Sledgehammer TV channel. I just like that word. I like that word. Probably not the last time I'm going to use it. Going to try to rein it back for you, next time. This is the first episode with it. Thank you, Samoa Joe, because it was the best part of my night. The ass hat. Ass hat word. Great word. Great way to end this show. Don't forget to check out everything else on the channel, which will be linked in the annotations up above. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball Microphone, the most important member of the team, as always, each and every one of you. That, my friends, is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time as the Royal Rumble comes at us right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.